I didn't plan to start a family war. I planned to pass the potatoes and survive another Sunday dinner. But some storms arrive in pastel blazers, armed with hashtags and a smile that thinks it's the sun. When my cousin's partner, Harper, joined our family orbit, she introduced herself as a professional helper. She worked in nonprofit marketing and said things like impact storytelling and hope metrics and change lives at scale. She also had a habit of turning regular moments into photo ops with captions that sounded like speeches. The first time she met my grandmother, she posted a black and white photo of their hands and wrote, "Wisdom feels like warm bread." My grandmother laughed, then asked me what warm bread had to do with anything. At first, I chalked it up to a harmless quirk. We all narrate ourselves a little. But then came the nicknames that weren't nicknames, the jokes that weren't jokes, and the kind of advice that wears a crown it didn't earn. My little sister Donnie is mixed. She's brilliant and shy and allergic to attention that isn't about books. At a barbecue, Harper put an arm around her and said, "This one is my favorite storm cloud, so much texture." Donnie froze the way people freeze when they're deciding whether to shrink or explode. Later, she whispered, "Why do I feel like a project when she looks at me?" Microaggressions don't arrive with sirens. They arrive smiling, offering help you didn't ask for, slicing you thin with tiny compliments that somehow insult. I started keeping a mental list. The time Harper corrected my uncle's accent in a story. The time she told my aunt, who was born here, that she spoke such good English. The time she posted a photo of the neighborhood kids at the block party, with the caption, "Investing in futures," like she was Wells Fargo when my cousin announced their engagement. Harper took over planning with the energy of a festival organizer and the empathy of a clipboard. She organized a pre-wedding charity drive in Danny's name without asking her, complete with a page that had Donnie's school photo and a bio that read like an application essay to impress strangers. As a biracial scholar, Donnie represents resilience, it said, as if my sister were a mascot. Donations started rolling in, friends of friends, Harper's followers, to small businesses eager to be seen, standing with youth. The page had a gold bar and a rolling ticker and a smiling photo of Harper delivering care packages that she had assembled with brand labels facing front. Donnie cried in the bathroom so quietly that I almost missed it. I knocked. She let me in and handed me her phone. "She's using my face for a fundraiser," she said. I never said yes. We brought it to my mom first. She winced, then smoothed it over like she always does. "I'm sure Harper meant well," she said. "Let me talk to her." Meaning well can hide a lot of harm. I told Mom we needed more than a talk. We needed consent, control, and respect. Mom sighed the sigh of a woman who wants the evening to be simple. "Fine," she said. After dinner that night tasted like tension. Harper floated from person to person like she'd invented light. She took photos of hands passing dishes, of Donnie's curls, of my grandmother's rosary. When it was time for updates, she clinked a glass and gave a speech about our families, commitment to impact, and how Donnie's story is inspiring so many. Donnie's shoulders crept toward her ears. My cousin beamed like pride could burn away discomfort. When the applause died, I stood. I'm not a performer. My hands shook. "Harper," I said, keeping my voice steady, "did Donnie agree to be the face of your fundraiser?" Silence swung through the room like a chandelier. Harper smiled wider. "We're all the face of this," she said. "It's a community effort." "That's not an answer," I said. "Did she say yes?" Harper blinked, like consent was a word she knew but couldn't place. "It's for a good cause," she said. "Sometimes leadership means acting before people know what's best for them." My grandmother made the small sign she makes when she knows someone is lying to themselves. Donnie stared at her plate. I took a breath. "I pulled some receipts," I said, and set printed screenshots on the table. Messages from donors asking for tax receipts she promised but didn't provide. A business DM asking whether the drive was registered. A note from a parent who didn't want their kid's photo used. Harper's own captions full of my community and the kids I serve, about children she'd met once at a block party. Harper's smile thinned. "You're twisting things," she said. "I'm amplifying stories." "You can't amplify what you don't listen to," I said, "and you don't get to call Donnie a story." Mom tried to step between us with a gentle "let's lower our voices," but the room had already decided to be honest. My aunt said she had asked Harper not to post her kitchen selfie because she hasn't told people where she lives. My neighbor mentioned that Harper had tagged their house number in a porch photo. My uncle said Harper had corrected him in front of his coworkers, turning his childhood into a PSA about grit. Harper's cheeks flushed. "I'm trying to help," she said, louder now. "This family has blind spots about race and class. I am actually doing something." "Doing something to who?" Donnie whispered. Hearing her say it broke something open. I looked at Harper. "What you call helping? Looks like control when you won't hear. No." It looks like harm when your kindness costs other people's privacy. And it looks like racism when you decide which parts of Donnie are marketable. Harper crossed her arms. So I'm a racist now. My cousin stood, torn eyes pleading with both of us. Can we not? No one said a label. I said, soft but firm. We're talking about behavior. If you're committed to being a good ally, you have to hear when the people you say you re-helping tell you you re-hurting them. The first step isn't a fundraiser, it's listening. Harper laughed once brittle. You're policing tone while the world burns. The world is always burning, my grandmother said, voice quiet as a gavel. But we don't throw each other in to look heroic. The room held its breath. Finally, my mom, who had wanted a simple evening and got a truth instead, nodded. The fundraiser comes down tonight, she said. Donnie decides what happens to her name and picture. Donations get refunded or redirected to a registered nonprofit. Donnie chooses F. She chooses end. Until then, no posting our family without consent. Harper stared at her. You're enabling fragility, she said. And you're mistaking attention for impact, Mom said. You don't get to decide what our dignity costs. Harper's phone buzzed on the table like a tiny alarm. I saw her eyes flick to it, the reflex of someone who fears content going stale. She picked it up, put it down, picked it up again, then left it face down as if she could silence what it revealed about her. My cousin swallowed. Harper, he said, voice shaking. We can do good without doing this. Please listen. Harper gathered her envelope and her poise and said she needed air. She stepped out onto the porch like it might applaud. We sat in the quiet after. Donnie exhaled for the first time in an hour. My grandmother took her hand. My uncle rubbed his chest like he'd swallowed a stone. Mom put a hand on my shoulder. Thank you, she said, and it sounded like an admission and a blessing. They asked me to help unwind the fundraiser. I wrote a note from Danis's perspective, with her consent, explaining that the page had been set up without permission and that we were refunding donations. We compiled a list of registered organizations Donnie respected and offered a reroute option for anyone who preferred it. We anonymized the donor list for privacy and set the page to private until we could reach everyone. We documented everything, not because we wanted a fight, but because clarity is kindness when people are already confused. At midnight, Harper texted a paragraph about nuance and urgency and being silenced at 12:02. My cousin texted back, "We're asking you to stop doing harm. If you want to help, start by apologizing." No response came. The next morning, my phone pinged with a new post. Harper had written a vague paragraph about being punished for being outspoken, paired with a black square and a quote about truth-telling. The comments were split between stay strong and maybe listen. A few well-meaning strangers dragged our family for not wanting to face hard truths, which is a neat trick when you omit the facts. We moved anyway. By evening, most donations were refunded. A handful chose to redirect to the nonprofits Donnie picked. Donnie wrote a small, careful note. Please don't use my photos without asking. I'm shy in public and bold in private. If you want to help me, ask me what I need. It sounded like her. That mattered. 2 days later, Harper came over. She didn't wear the blazer. She wore a sweatshirt and a face that looked like she hadn't slept. She asked to talk to Donnie. I sat with them because Donnie asked me to. Harper started with, "I'm sorry you felt." Donnie held up a hand. "Not that one," she said. "Try again," Harper swallowed. "I'm sorry," she said. I posted without asking. "I made you a prop for a story I wanted to tell about myself. I ignored you when you were uncomfortable, and I said you were fragile when I was the brittle one. I'm embarrassed." Donnie nodded once. "Thank you," she said. Then she added, "Because Donnie is both kind and precise, don't do it again." Harper nodded. "I won't." We talked about what help looks like when it's help. Asking first, giving privately, redirecting attention instead of harvesting it, centering the person's needs over your need to be seen. We talked about the difference between allyship and savior complex. One listens, the other narrates. One shows up, the other shows off. We agreed on new rules: no posting any family without consent, no using anyone's name to raise money without written permission, no speaking for people who are present. My cousin listened with eyes full of relief and regret, and maybe a future. He said he had confused Harper's confidence with competence and assumed the cause excused the method. He apologized to Donnie for not catching it sooner. He apologized to me for asking me to keep the peace when the peace was costing Donnie's dignity. We didn't exile anyone. We didn't throw a party for growth. We set boundaries, we asked for restitution, and we made a plan. Harper refunded the last checks and sent personal apologies to the donors whose privacy she de-trampled by tagging them publicly. She deleted photos where faces hadn't consented. She offered to volunteer anonymously at one of the nonprofits Donnie chose, under the direction of staff, not above them. "No content," she said. "Just work. My grandmother, who has seen more apologies than the internet, has opinions, patted her hand. Helping feels quiet, she said. If it's loud, it's about you. Over the next months, we practiced the new normal. Family group chat rules. Ask before posting. Use initials for kids. No tagging locations in real time. Holidays. No speeches about our impact unless the person the story is about wants to talk. Donnie started an art exchange with the kids from the block party where everyone mailed each other's signs and stickers. No one posted the kids' faces. We posted the mailbox. Sometimes Harper slipped. She almost filmed a food pantry line before catching herself. She texted me. I nearly messed up. Caught it. I texted back a thumbs up and a period, because some encouragement is a small nod, not a standing ovation. One afternoon, Donnie came home smiling with a Polaroid of her and a friend painting a wall at the community center. It was fun, she said. No one asked for a quote. She stuck the picture on her mirror. No captions, no hashtags. Just a moment she owned. People sometimes ask me how to confront racist behavior in a family without setting the house on fire. My answer is boring. Name the behavior without name-calling. Bring receipts without humiliation. Center the harmed person. Insist on consent. Set policy you can live with and be willing to pause relationships until those policies are real. Also, forgive in installments, not on credit. Do I think Harper changed overnight? No, but I think she learned that helping is not performance art, and that a savior complex can be put down like a heavy bag. When someone's dignity matters more than your brand, on the day of their wedding, my cousin asked Donnie to do a reading. She chose a paragraph about community that has no author and docentee need one. We take turns holding the lantern. We never mistake the lantern for the light. She read it in her careful voice. There were no phones out. We kept that moment for us. Afterward, Harper approached me with a folded note. This is my last post about any of this, she said. It's not a post. It's a list. The list had 5 lines. Ask first. Keep private things private. Give quietly. Center the person, not the story. If you're tempted to film it, put your phone down. I told her that sounded like a good beginning. She said it felt like a good ending. Maybe it can be both. If you listened this far, thank you. If you've dealt with performative allyship or savior complex dressed as kindness, I'm sorry, you're not crazy. You're not ungrateful. You're allowed to ask for consent, to say no, and to call behavior what it is without hating the person who did it. Like and subscribe if you believe respect beats performance. Comment your verdict. What would you have done? And if you've got a story about choosing dignity over clout, submit it. Someone needs your lantern more than your highlight reel.